Hello students and welcome again to Legacy IAS Academy. In this lecture, we will be moving ahead with our economic survey series with chapter 6 that talks about investment and infrastructure. India requires a huge amount of investment in infrastructure. Why infrastructure is so important? Because infrastructure creation is nothing but capital asset creation, and this capital asset is going to reap revenue. It will generate revenue for the future and is going to spur the growth. That is why infrastructure development is very important. That is why focus on investment in infrastructure is very important. In fact, the government has come up with a concept of talking about the states to come up with the list of projects that it has told the ministry to come up with the projects which they can undertake over PPP model, that is public private partnership model related to infrastructure. At the same time, it is urging the state to come up with such plan for themselves as well. So you can understand that public-private partnership model is on the rise. Of course, it has been since the last few years and now further it is going to enhance. What is this public-private partnership model? It is a model wherein the government generally provides the land, of course, and majority or all of the money comes from the private sector. Some amount of money can be given by the government also, but majority is from the private sector. So that is your public-private partnership model. Now, why this partnership? Because the money of government alone is not enough, so private party or private companies money is also required, as we need huge amount, around $10 trillion of investment in infrastructure is needed in the coming years. Now there is an issue over there because we are already paying the taxes. From that tax the road needs to be developed, but the government is not developing it. It is developing over PPP model. Then these industries, these companies will ask for more toll taxes from us in order to capture or get back the revenue which they have spent in constructing the road. So that sort of is an extra burden on the taxpayer. Okay, so there is a very slippery slope over here, that PPP will enhance investment and increase development, but at the same time toll taxes will be there because the company will have to cover the cost of the construction which they have put in. Anyway, let's see what the future holds for PPP project. As it stands, it will be further on the rise. So now let us look at overall infrastructure, what has been the case in India. So you will generally see the entire chapter which talks about infrastructure and development. You will see either there is sort of stability or equal amount of growth or slight increase. There has not been a huge amount of dip as such. Somewhere, some places you may see a slight dip because there are logical reasons for that. For example, from 50% to reach up to 70%, it's not easy, it's difficult, but from 50 to 70 is easier compared to from 70 to 90. Why? Because it is difficult to increase in efficiency at a higher efficiency level. So all these reasons are there, plus many more. We'll discuss them as and when they come individually. So first, let us look at the growth in the capital expenditure. So there has been a growth in the capital expenditure, which is very clear over here. Why is this important? See, increase in capital expenditure means reduction in the revenue expenditure. So why increase in capital expenditure good? Because this expenditure is creating a capital which will generate revenue in the future. So it is going to keep the economy running efficiently. That is why it is a positive thing. Now what that expenditure has been on, you can have a look at it, but this is a more important part of the graph. So shipping, then aviation, then railways, then water, sanitation, and roads are at a lower level. Roads, rural development, and housing and urbanization. So majorly port, aviation and railways, all dealing with what? Transportation. Then water, power, roads, again transportation. So transportation infrastructure has had a chunk of the share when it comes to capital expenditure. If you look at railway infrastructure development, so as I said, there is a possibility of a downfall. It can happen. It has happened over here. So around 2,280 kilometers of railway network was commissioned. Commission means handed over, started functioning. Okay. So that is what commissioning means. It is slightly on the lower side, but still quite high. That is over 2,000 kilometers of railway network that has been commissioned. So more and more you commission, it becomes more and more difficult to apply the network even more, right? So anyway, it is sort of similar, not too less. If you look at the production of wagons means the coaches and all which are there, wagons and locomotives, the actual train that is running, there has been an increase in that. So from 22,000 to 26,000 in April to November. If you look at it, it was 22,042 the wagons, it increased to 26,148. In locomotives, what has been the increase? From 968 there has been an increase to 1042. So the increase has been there in wagons as well as the locomotives. Now further sticking with the railways only, the government had introduced Vande Bharat trains. So there has been a considerable increase in the number of Vande Bharat trains from 2 in 2018, 22 to 10, then 51 and now 68. So we have now total 68. The same is cumulative production of Vande Bharat coaches. You know the bogies, the coaches that are there, A1, A2, B1, B2 like that. So these are the coaches we are talking about. So from 32 it has increased to 900. Okay. Now National Highway Network. So National Highway Network is slightly on the lower side, from 6,215 in financial year 24 to 5,853. Now you may think that this financial year is not over, so anyhow we are not comparing the 3 quarters of this financial year with the entire financial year of previous year. No, this is a comparison between the 3 quarters of previous financial year compared to the 3 quarters of this financial year. So both the comparison are with respect to same duration of time. So there is a slight reduction view which you can see. Now what happens is, this generally you can see that it happens because the network is keeping on increasing, so you have to further acquire the land, further land acquisition, so many more things are there, and then it has to be passed, all those things. That is why slight reduction may be visible, but still that's a huge amount we are talking about. Now when you talk about cargo handling capacity, the cargo handling capacity has increased from 7.4, it went to 7.5, which was a slight increase, but then it is a higher increase over here from 7.5 to 8, that is 8 million tons. If you look at the operationalized airport routes under the UDAN scheme, that has been increased. UDAN airports have increased from 84 to 88, and the UDAN routes from 545 to 619. Plus in the union budget 2025-26, as I said, I'll keep telling you about the provisions that the budget has brought in. So the provision that the government has brought in via the budget is that it is going to connect 120 more routes. This 619 will soon be 739 routes. I hope that's clear. Now coming back to the shipping industry. So in the shipping industry, the port capacity addition has been quite high, increased port capacity addition. So it was 3 in financial year 24, in 25 it is 21. So that is 7 times what it was previously. Now this is on the lower side, which is a good thing, because what is this? This is the turnaround time that we are talking about in major ports. So in major ports, the turnaround time was 48.1 hours. That means around 2 complete days. Now that has been reduced to 30.4 hours. That means less than 1.5 days. Right? So this is a considerable decrease, and this is a very good thing. This will increase the efficiency of our ports, and the volume of trade can increase. The trade, the import export, everything will be more and more efficient. Now to tell you, even this is not good enough if you compare it with the world standard. The world standard is such that India's port, which has the highest turnaround time efficiency, is close to the world's average. Right? So that is how far behind we are. What is the reason for lagging behind this much? Because of lack of technology. You know, in other places there is systems in place, technology in place, it directly, magnetic field and all those ways are there to unload the cargo and reload the cargo. So it's very fast. Here in India it's mechanically done. Mechanically means not lifting by hand. These are 2 big huge cargo boxes. So it is lifted by cranes generally, which is operated mechanically by a human being, and it is quite slow. Whereas the machine operated, technology driven is very fast. That is why the turnaround time in India is still high. However, we need to appreciate the fact that from 48 hours we have reduced it to 30 hours. Now, when you talk about the power sector, so capacity addition has increased. Transmission lines that have been added has sort of reduced, capacity has increased, so generation is happening. India has been facing the problem of distribution of that power, which is sort of visible with less amount of transmission lines that have been made, but power generation is not a problem when it comes to India. At the same time, transformation capacity addition is also better this financial year around. Now, the changing landscape of the power sector. What does this mean? This means that the percentage of renewable energy in our power sector is consistently increasing. So, if you look at the fossil fuel power and the non-fossil fuel power, you can see that the fossil fuel power is declining, whereas the non-fossil fuel power is increasing. Though slightly, but still you can see that there is a clear increase. As far as the renewable energy is concerned, you have solar as the highest, then comes your hydro, and then the wind power. This is bioenergy. So remember this sequence, very important, can be directly asked in your prelims. Arrange the following renewable energy sources in their increasing or decreasing order of installed capacity. So highest is the solar one. Now, state-wise open defecation free status. So again, here also we are doing well. So if you look at almost a year or half a year back, the percentages were lesser. Per states with more than 75%, just 1, 2, or regions 1, 2 and 3, that's it. But now the entire Jammu and Kashmir completely, right, Jammu and Kashmir completely was not previously, it was 75 and I think 25 to 50 and 75 divided. Now the entire state, entire union territory of Jammu and Kashmir basically is more than 75% of defecation free. And plus other states were what? Total 1, 2, 3 and 4 other states were there. Now there are multiple such states with more than 75% open defecation free status, plus other states also from dark blue has converted into light blue, and this indigo also has been converted into light blue. So the performance with respect to open defecation free status is becoming better and better. Now progress under Swachh Bharat mission is also good. So the percentage you can see are completely on the rise. Individual household, so percentage of toilets in individual household, 96% of the targets have been achieved. The percentage of target that has been achieved is consistently increasing. Now if you look at community or public toilets constructed, so 96% of the target has been achieved. Here also 96% of the target has been achieved. Again 96 of the total. If you look at this door-to-door solid waste collection, even this is also on the rise. Waste processing of waste is also on the rise. Then cities that are declared open defecation free, they are also on the rise. So Swachh Bharat mission is doing considerably well. It was initiated over about a decade ago. After a decade, if you see, the performance is clearly visible, from 15 to 100, from 20 to 109, from 9 to 126, from 41 to 98, from 18 to 80. So there has been considerable amount of improvement. Now further, what can be looked at? Door-to-door solid waste collection, all that thing is fine, but certain things that can be probably an improvement is basically your manual scavenging can be completely eradicated with the use of machines, etc. Those things can be looked at, which will not just reap the benefit of better hygiene, better better health, etc., but at the same time the discrimination, untouchability, all that thing can also be addressed to an extent. So this is all about your chapter 6. Thank you.